Hi Aries, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I am going to be doing your December 2020 full moon reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I am using, they will all be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, let's clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from your body like storm clouds, letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as you enter into this safe and loving space. All right. Now let's let the bulls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Aries. How will Aries be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aries be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aries be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aries be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aries be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. Okay. And let's see what your chakra energy is going to be surrounding this moon. Now this goes from full moon to full moon, and that is what we have set up here. It is from the 29th of December to the 28th of January 2021. So let's see what the chakra energy is. Aries. How will Aries be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aries be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aries be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aries be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. There we go. And show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Awesome. Fantastic. So we're starting off with the heart chakra, and we're going to see how this all equates to the tarot in just a moment. Then we have the soul star chakra, located 6 inches above the crown, and we have wisdom divine wisdom sandwiched between the heart chakras. So that is beautiful. We have love and we have play coming in. So during this time, what you need to focus on emotionally here is the heart chakra and moving into a realm of love, of play, and of letting that divine wisdom that you are being so graced with move beautifully forward with you. So let's see here. We have the Seven of Pentacles. We have the Moon card. So this moon is definitely hitting you intensely. The Moon card is also a Pisces energy. February 19th to March 20th is its time frame. The Five of Wands. Temperance. Sagittarius energy. Time frame is November 22nd to December 21st. The Four of Wands. The Five of Wands. The Five of Swords. The Ace of Pentacles. Transformation, the Death card. Scorpio energy. Time frame October 23rd to November 21st. Very interesting because Scorpio time frame goes straight into Sagittarius time frame. We have the Queen of Air, air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Queen of Swords. The Seven of Cups. The Three of Pentacles. And the Ten of Wands. Oh, no wonder you're being told to remember emotionally, yourself, and to take care and to let yourself grow in love and in wisdom, because you're taking on so much during this moon, which is the full moon in Cancer, it can seem almost incongruous to want to take on so much. It's going to almost seem out of character for you. And of course, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the left-hand side is your inner self. The middle is your heart, your emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. And I just laid the chakra cards out at random, so they don't equate necessarily. But we're starting here with love. So we're starting with the heart chakra. And especially, well, I actually don't think it was by accident that Spirit had me line them up this way. When we enter into the public arena, and as we are moving forward in the public arena here, Aries, as you are moving forward in the public arena, it's like, don't forget your heart. Don't forget what you love. Don't forget to bring your passion forward, because that really is going to be what sets you apart from everyone and everything else. And to forget about your heart, especially during a Cancer full moon. And what's so glorious about this Cancer full moon, which we will get into in a moment, is that this moon brings us full circle. And with 2020, to have such a synchronized beginning and ending, such a harmonizing way of ending the year with the same moon that we started the year with. Well, that's just powerful. That shows that we've come full circle. And who doesn't want to come full circle in a year such as this, and to be able to kind of leave it behind, to be able to move forward. So 2020, this full moon, this ending moon of 2020 does bring us full circle, because we started 2020 with the full moon in Cancer, and now we are ending it with the full moon in Cancer. So wisdom is very much a part of you during this time. It is kind of raining down on you, and you're going to see things much more introspectively, much more contemplatively. You are very connected here with the sacred feminine with the full moon in Cancer. So that's going to be another reason that you are learning so much. And the spirit animal of December, which is the owl and the horse spirit connects you with the sacred masculine. So that's going to be part of the divine wisdom that is around you, this tie that you have to the sacred feminine, to the sacred masculine, as you move forward and as you embrace your grace, your soul, and yourself. And it's this wisdom that it's kind of like opening up the wonders to you. And you're going to sit there and be like, well, I never saw it like this before, and I never thought of it like that. And now you step into that power, you step into that abundance, and it really is a game changer for you. And it's saying here, don't forget play. Don't forget joy. Don't forget allowing laughter and grace into your life, because you can become so serious with things, so serious with bringing your dreams forward, so serious with, of course, this is a time of really embracing and embodying and being emboldened by the truth. And so here you're going to want to say, like, nothing stands in my way. I have this power to move forward, and things are moving more quickly than I thought they would, and I can achieve if I just push harder. And this moon is kind of telling you to step back a little bit. It's not that you're not pushing harder. It's not that you're not going after what it is that you want. But there is a severe need here to this surrender to the divine, because that's where you find your power. And as you surrender to your divine self, as you surrender to the grace of yourself, you feel more at home in your skin. And that's what this full moon in Cancer says. A personal issue reaches resolution, because with the moon being in its own house, okay, it makes us take time. It makes us take time. It makes us almost hold space for who it is that we are. And what that means is that we're stepping out of the chaos of the world. And because the sacred feminine is so powerful here, and that's where we are also making time for the divine. It's that sacred hidden part of ourselves that we sit there and we think, well, that's not going to conquer. That's not going to, push things forward the way that I want to, so it doesn't mean anything. And that couldn't be further from the truth. This is a time where you are going to see the power within yourself is deeply connected to your emotions, to your well-being, to the nurturing of your soul, the nurturing of yourself, the remembrance of your heart, to your family, okay? The family that you've created, the family that you were born into, the family that you've chosen, whichever one pulls you. This is how you're moving forward. It's a sense here of being connected to more. And as you do so, you trust your instincts, you trust your intuition. You're learning how to absorb and acquire what is vastly important to you. And that really does resolve a lot of issues, because it's like, oh, I see things more clearly. I see things more truthfully. But you're also, dually during this time, you're going to find that you react more for others than you do for yourself. You're going to find that there is this sense of needing to right wrongs, of needing to, fix hurts. And it's like, okay, that's great, but don't forget about you. And I'm not trying to say that flippantly. Spirit is very much saying here, it's like, that's great to want to heal the world. But if you don't heal yourself, how can you move forward? You will just be drained. And then, it's like being absolutely exhausted and then saying, okay, I'm going to go run, or I'm going to go do this, I'm going to go do that. And instead of it making you feel better, it makes you feel worse, because you are already running on empty. It's kind of like trying to start your car, and when there's no gas, it doesn't run. So don't use up all your fuel. This is a time to embrace your sympathetic nature, your compassion, your understanding, but not to let it rule you, because it really can rule you during this time. So your emotions do run high, and it is important to be aware of what you're feeling, because if you're not aware of your heart, and that's why your heart also plays such a powerful role during this time here, Aries, because if you're not aware of your heart, of emotionally what you feel, of emotionally what you desire, then all of a sudden it can run away with you. It can absolutely take you on this journey where you are just heart reacting. And heart reacting is, there's no balance. There's no balance. If you are all emotion, or if you are all mind, it becomes chaos. So you have to come into the middle. It's like, okay, mentally, what do I need? Emotionally, what do I need? How can I sandwich these together? Because that's what you're doing. You're sandwiching wisdom, divine wisdom, in between your heart. And that's going to be so absolutely imperative for you. And you can feel very nostalgic during this time, so watch out for melancholy kind of taking over. And then we move to the new moon, which says a new start is coming, and it's time for beginnings, because the new moon is in Capricorn. So the new moon in Capricorn on the 13th of January is, your hard work is paying off. It's kind of like, if I just work harder, if I just go at it a bit more. And remember, you're coming to this from Cancer full moon energy. So it's very emotionally connected. It's very much like you're pouring your heart and your soul into everything. So you're going to have a tendency to want to run on empty, to want to run harder and longer than you actually can. So here, with the full moon, with the new moon in Capricorn, this is almost saying it's time to step back. It is time to look at your hard work, of what you have put in, of what you still desire, to kind of look at things kind of logically, but use this almost more as a meditative time to see the beginnings that you can move into. And especially with the new year coming in, you're going to want to sit there and say, well, this is what I want to get done for 2021. 2020 absolutely did not go as I had planned. Everything just got thrown out the window. So now I need to push even harder. And it's like, no, now you need to see what's truly important for you, and the new start that you want to be coming within your life, the new start that you want to embrace as you embrace the beginning of this year, but also as you take this time to embrace a beginning of a new cycle of you. because it then moves you to the full moon in Leo, which is on the 28th of January. And this says, don't let pride get in the way. As you embrace your heart, your soul, yourself, as you surrender to the divine, don't let pride get in the way. Sit there and look at things. Maybe reevaluate. Sit there and say, oh, well, this I'm really good at, and that maybe not so much, but I tried, and at least I gave it a shot. And be open and honest with yourself. How does it make you feel? It's not like, oh, I'm going to win. It's like, well, why do I want to win? What does that bring to my table? Is that helping me or is that hindering me? Is this something that I'm going to say, absolutely, I have to be the very best at in the whole entire world? Or is this something that I'm saying, okay, I'm developing it, I'm seeing it, I'm understanding it, and kind of taking a more holistic approach to you, because the world has been so crazy and we can take on so much on our shoulders. And we see this with the 10 of Wands right here. We see that you take on, Aries, more and more and more because, of course, you are an Aries. Aries is the god of war in Greek mythology. So you are the general. You are this, planner, this methodical looker, this person who sees the bigger picture. And you're going to try and want to strategize perfectly, make everything all lined up, all set to go, all ready, and it's saying here, step back. Step back and see the power within you. Step back and see not the bigger picture that everybody else wants from you, the bigger picture that you want from yourself. And it can be a lot gentler than you think the world wants of you. And that's going to be okay. Because there is a tendency here that we think, oh, just conquer, just conquer, just conquer. It's like, no, what is it that you want to conquer? What is it at the end of the day that you want to be known for? How is it that you want to breathe, peace and security within your life, your soul, yourself? Because you're being watched over during this time by the owl spirit and by the horse spirit. And the horse spirit, again, is bringing that sacred masculine energy, and be it it's only for a few days because, of course, the 31st is the end of December. So for a few days, you have the impact of the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine coming forward. Well, no, it's not for December, it's for the full moon. So yeah, you're going to have for a few days that hitting you very, very intensely because, and then up to the new moon. But here, so it'll hit you very intensely up to the 31st because that's what Spirit had me say. And then it's going to kind of calm down just a bit. But you can feel that energy really working inside of you. You can feel that push and that pull and that desire forward. And so with the horse spirit here, you're driven by force. You're driven by, the freedom is yours. And you have the repeat of the number 5. So it's like, this freedom is mine. This bounty is mine. This determination is mine. I can move forward like this. And it's like, why not? And you also start to really pull, like the full moon in Leo starts to really become impactful with you after the new moon. So you're going to start to pull from that energy, Aries. And because also fire sign energy calls to fire sign energy, you're going to feel the full moon in Leo a lot more easily than it will be to feel the full moon in Cancer, because the full moon in Cancer is going to be softer and gentler. And you're going to think, well, is that weakness? Is this really what I want to embrace? And the answer is absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. So here, the freedom is yours as you move forward, as you thrive within your life, and as you look at what makes you thrive. You look at what's sacredly important to you, and it winds up being a game changer. And you find yourself balancing between the wild side of you and the tame side of you, the way that you want to move forward, and these different aspects of your personality, which bring you to strong emotional understandings like, oh, wow, this is what I need, and this is who I am, and I can look at these different sides of me that maybe I don't let the rest of the world see, but that I know are sacredly imperative to myself. And then that leads you to the embracing of the strong sexual energy of the sacred masculine that the horse spirit represents. And as you move forward in this energy, you move forward in creation. And the cool thing about the owl spirit is not only is it the spirit animal for December, but it's also the spirit animal for January. So it's going to pack with it so much more. So the owl spirit says here, you can see clearly now. And you can see clearly because there's a high sense of intuition, only amplified by the full moon in Cancer. And then you see what others can't, because of course you're seeing clearly. But do note that this is a time where everybody can see what others can't. So it's like, well, then isn't everybody seeing everything? It's like, no. What they are seeing is what they have a proclivity to seeing. It's what they are inclined to see. in and of themselves. So this starts to amplify a greater sense of truth, a greater sense of power, a greater sense of understanding. And it really does play off of your own personal strengths. So what you're going to see here is that one person has this really great insight into one thing, and you have this really great insight into another. And if you start sharing ideas and kind of bouncing things off of each other, or communicating with your angels and your spirit guides and figuring things out and moving things forward, you find that there is real power within yourself. And you find that there is more. It's kind of like you're peeling back the layers. And as you do this, this announces change within you. And you're seeing beyond the deceits, you're seeing beyond the masks of people. And this brings you to transformation and to a sense of needing change. But this also links you with the sacred feminine energy of the Cancer full moon, which carries with you into January, most definitely, where this is a time where you face the shadows. This is a time where you find wisdom in silence, where you find wisdom in the quiet of your soul and in the power of yourself. And that's why it's sandwiched between your heart. And as you embrace this wisdom, it's time to hold on to your truth. It's time to look at your truth, and instead of saying, oh, this is silly, and oh, this doesn't mean anything, to say, no, this is my sacred power. And I'm no longer dealing in lies. You have the repeat of the number 7 here. You don't want to deal in lies. You want to deal in your sacred truth and be empowered by it. And this is embracing you spiritually into a new perspective of your life and into a new power, to a new place for you to dwell and for you to embrace. And then it brings you in January also to the brown bear spirit, which says take time out to look at the seeds that you've planted over your heart, to grow in force of strength of self, to grow in power and determination. And you're challenging your confidence. You're challenging where you feel secure. So you're going to see yourself kind of rocking the boat a little bit. And a part of you is going to be like, no, I don't want to rock the boat. I want to stay where it's comfortable. I want to stay where it's safe. I want to stay very homey and nesty and, secure and kind of cuddly within myself. But there's going to be something here that rocks the boat and says, what are you planting? What are you pushing towards? Where is it that you want to be? And as you see this also becomes a symbol of you healing through solitude, through meditation, through rest, through that deeper connection with your heart, which has you realizing, and it's always such a tough thing for me with the 7 of Pentacles, where it's like you're realizing that things have to happen in divine timing, that you cannot rush the seeds that you have planted, because if it is rushed, it will not be as sweet. Here's the thing, and I learned this very recently, that scientists made a construct of the earth and made a model of it to see how we could help, our environment and ourselves and everything like that. And what they did is they made the trees, and they planted trees and they watched them grow, and they were so surprised because the trees grew so quickly. But then they got to a certain height and they tumbled down. And this still, it just shocks me, because they tumble down because the scientists did not think to put in the wind. They why do you need that? Because it hardens the bark. It also deepens the roots. And so here, if you don't have the hardening of the bark, if you don't have the troubles and the difficulties, if things just get to grow as you think is best, faster and taller and better, then you will see that they tumble quicker, because they aren't buffered by time. They aren't changed in the way that we think and the way that we know that they should be changed by the power of adversity. And so here, with the 7 of Pentacles, it's kind of like if we get everything at the right time for us, when we think we're ready, when we think it should be, we'll be like those trees that topple over. It's also like having a whole bunch of strawberries, right? And they're not ripe, and you don't want to wait. So you cut them all up and you cover them with sugar and you say, oh, delicious. But they're a little bit sour and they're super crunchy and they're not delicious. So here, this is saying divine timing is so important to you as you embrace this moon, as you look at your fears, as you reflect on divine power, as you reflect on what that means for you, what divinity, what, self and soul and power and understanding means for you. And as you face these fears, as you face the shadows, as you look at the unknown and you say, how do I move forward? And what is it that I want? And who is it that I am? And things start to bubble to the surface. This is a time where you're looking at things not through the eyes of, I have to, like, not through the eyes of all the world's a stage, right? And all the men and women simply players, which is what Shakespeare says. And that's very true. But here you're wanting more than just an act. You're wanting more than just the stage performance. You're wanting depth and soul and power of feeling. You don't want to think that, oh, when this is all over, you just change the costume and now you're a different person. You want it to be real and raw almost all the time, which can be emotionally very, very hard. It can be very much like sandpaper on you. So do be mindful of that. Because here, Aries, there is a sense of vulnerability. And there is a sense of tremendous power through that vulnerability. And as you are embracing it, and as you are embracing this sense of what am I afraid of, and how do I move forward, and do I let that fear rule me, or do I pay homage to it? And I know it sounds so odd to say we pay homage to fear, but it's because it makes up such a valuable part of who it is that we are. And it makes us so much stronger if we see it, if we look it dead in the eye and say, you don't get to rule me. You don't get to dictate to me who I am and where I'm going and why I'm going there. I get to see this fear. I get to know that you kept my ancestors alive, right? It was by being afraid of things that people didn't run off cliffs or eat the poison berries that they saw, whomever died painfully from. You didn't do it because you were afraid. And it kept you well. But in a world where so many of us are not facing those fears, we're not running off the cliffs, we're not picking wild berries, we have a very different life. And so the way that we embrace this fight or flight reaction to things is not like, oh, I can fight this bear, or I can leave this bear alone, or, oh, I can run away from this enemy, or I can hide from this enemy, or I can leave this enemy alone type of thing. It is a sense of, well, how do I battle something that doesn't have a face? How do I battle something that I have no control over? And we're seeing that in our world so profoundly, especially in 2020. And so here, it's looking at what's truly important. And it's looking at who you truly are and what it is that you truly desire and the way it is that you want to move forward. And you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, listen, this is me. Fear and all. I understand it. And I will not be held back, because you're looking at the 5 here of wands. And this is the chaos. This is the chaos externally. This is things that turn into fights where you're sitting there and you're like, how did we get here? Like, how did this dissolve this way? This is internally where you have doubts and you have chaos within, and you're looking at things and you're saying, how do I move forward? How is it that I go after what it is that I want when I have this fear here and I have these doubts and they're warring within each other? And the little part of me that's saying, I think I can, that little Thomas the Train engine that wants you to go up the hill is being like, maybe I can't. And you're going to see that this is a time where you look at things not with anger and derision, which is going to be so easy. That's going to be just like the fallback way to look at it, but with more compassion and love for yourself and saying, okay, well, I see where these scars come from, and I see and I understand why I have them, but they don't get to rule my life anymore. They don't get to rule me. And then that's where the temperance comes in. That's where the balance comes in. The balance of, okay, I'm going to be striving for more, but it's kind of like pride cometh before the fall, right? If I always let myself be prideful and, sit there and say, well, I'm going to show whomever, why? It's your life. Do it for you. If you're sitting there and saying, well, I want to learn, like, let's say you're wanting to learn Spanish, right? So you download Duolingo and you're like, okay, I want to be the best. I want to be number 1. Are you doing it for you? Or are you doing it for somebody else? That is where I am at this moment. So here it's like, okay, am I doing it for me or am I doing it for somebody else? What is important? Where is the balance? Where is the understanding? Where is my passion? Where is my determination? Because you're going to be seeing here that you're pouring the waters into yourself. You're pouring the waters of the fear and the waters of the security, and they're melding together to make the beautiful complexity that is us as human beings. Because if we are perfect, it's actually disturbing. Like, if a person is too perfect looking, they start to become disturbing looking. If a person's voice is auto-tuned too much, that it is perfect, it becomes disturbing. A computer can play can have an instrument playing, right? And can make it perfect. But a person playing will have flaws in it, but it will make it more beautiful to us. So that is what you're seeing here, and that's pretty much like the sum of the matter, is that the flaws make you beautiful. And it's not something that you need to kind of like beat out of you and say, oh, I just need to push harder. It's something that you need to look at and say, I respect this aspect of myself. I move forward with it with grace and with elegance and eloquence of spirit, and saying, how does this shape me? How does this make me more humane? How does this make me more, give me a greater understanding to my life? Because it's leading you right here to the Four of Fire. The Four of Wands is celebration. The Four of Wands is being able within your heart to celebrate yourself, being able to look at your soul, to being able to look at what you desire and say, I celebrate me. I celebrate my beauty. I celebrate my comprehension. I celebrate everything that I have been through that I might have cursed along the way. I celebrate who I am because I am not a mistake. And it's also by doing so that you start to see your whole life change. You start to see opportunities come your way that would have passed you by, or you wouldn't even have thought of going after, because you would have thought, oh, I can't do that, or oh, I can't move forward that way, or oh, that's super scary and I don't want to do that, and it's totally outside of my comfort zone. But as you celebrate you, it's like, why not? Why not keep on celebrating me? Which then brings you to the Five of Swords. It brings you to a karmic debt. It brings you to a generational curse that says, oh no, you can't. Because this is something you're supposed to learn. And this is something to celebrate ourselves, to walk in our truth, that we will forever be learning, okay, as human beings. It's just a natural path forward. Here, it's going to be a bit deeper for you, Aries. You are going to see the negativity spoken over you as a child. Those are the generational curses. So when we say generational curses, it sounds so ominous, doesn't it? And scary. But what it is it's looking at the negativity that your parents were raised with, or whomever raised you were raised with, and the way that they put that onto you. It's like, oh no, you're just going to fail. Don't try like that. Don't do things like this. Be afraid, be overwhelmed, or we never succeed. We never get to be at this level of self and of prosperity. So why even try? And you're going to be breaking those limitations. You're going to be looking at things during this time and saying, well, why does that voice play in my head? And why do I look at things that way? And why do I, doubt myself like this? And you're going to be breaking those curses. You're going to be sitting there and saying, no. I don't work my tush off all the time for no pay. I don't get to always feel like the odd man out. No, I get to move forward in grace of purpose and power of soul and brilliance of self because I am celebrated. And there is a reason why I'm here. And it's to be more than I expected to be. It's to live a life, maybe not, a movie star life, maybe not a rock star life, but it's to live a life of grace and dignity and respect of self and power of soul, and that gets to let me rise. And so every time you would put down yourself in front of somebody instead of standing in your truth, every time you would, sit there and swallow your words and swallow your truth of self. Okay, this isn't getting into fights with everybody or anything like that, but it's saying stand in your power. Because every time you choose to shrink yourself is a moment where you are perpetuating either the past life trauma that you have been through, or the generational, the DNA, but the trauma that is in your DNA. And if you go back further enough, for every human being, there is trauma. There is trauma within your DNA line. For some, it's much more prevalent. It's much more at the surface, so which can make this so much harder. And it doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that, maybe actually you can name it easier. And by naming it, by giving it a face, you can kind of shatter its expectations and say, you know what, that is a mask I don't want to wear anymore. That is a monster I will not be haunted by. And so here, it then moves you to this place of really divinity calling prosperity into your life and saying, now you have these pentacles. You have prosperity, you have bounty, you have beauty, you have wealth, you have a coming together of self. And these are the seeds that you are planting. You become the king of your forest because the stag, the heart, is the king. And so here, there is a sense of might. There is a sense of triumph. There is a sense of determination. And there's a sense of knowing the seeds that you want to plant, of knowing how you are creating this garden, how you are moving things forward, where it is that you want to be, what it is that you value, what it is that has true value to you. And it brings you to the death card, to the transformation card. And the death card, we always think, oh my gosh, that's so scary. But it's not scary. It is understanding that as we grow, and especially during this moon, because it's so It connects us so powerfully with our emotions. It brings us full circle within this year. It has us looking at things so profoundly and so intensely and so truthfully, okay? That we look at the person who we were when the year started, and we look at the person we are now. And yes, we could sit there and be like, oh my gosh, I never want to be here again. But we can also look at our strength and the power of purpose and the dignity of soul and the determination of self and be like, wow, I didn't know I had that in me. I didn't know I could move forward this way. I didn't realize this was me. And it is. And so when we transform and when we talk about the death card, it is the great equalizer, first of all, because we all kind of have the same end game, right? But it is also the way that we change. We're not the same person we were 10 years ago, 20 years ago. We're not the same person we were when we were 5, most definitely. And we could be trying to find that joy or that bliss or that profound sense of self again. But we are forever growing, forever changing, forever sculpted by the knowledge that we accumulate, by the way we've, traversed the world. And so here, there can be that mourning of, I'm not the same person I was. And there can be sorrow around there because, you might have really liked that. You might have been like, oh, wow, I was awesome then. I'm not so sure I'm awesome now. But when you were living that moment, it's kind of like going back to being a teenager. When you were a teenager and you were looking at everything and you were worried and doubtful or you just didn't see, how beautiful, how handsome you are. And then you're looking at things now and you're like, wow, I thought that was awful. That was pretty darn cool. You're going to be looking back at this time, thinking that about yourself. It's like, wow, I thought I was awful, but I was pretty darn cool. And so here, it's that constant change. It's that constant metamorphosis of self. And it brings power. It brings us to walking between two worlds, the spiritual world and the earthly world. What our hearts say is so tremendously important to us. And then what the world says is so tremendously important to us. And what we need to survive, which is also tremendously important to us. And it brings you to this time, Aries, to be the Queen of Air, the Queen of Swords. You're not putting up with anybody's nonsense. You're cutting through a lot of doubt and fear. The Queen of Swords, for me, is very much the warrior queen. All right, because swords is the only true weapon. It can't be used for anything else. A sword is a weapon, period, end of discussion. A sword is also a weapon of prestige and wealth. So when you have a sword, you were high ranking, okay? You either performed a great deed and the king gave you a sword, the Lord gave you a sword to elevate you, all right? Or you were born into privilege and you learned that sword in and out because that's what you would live and that's what you would die by. And so here with the Queen of Swords, you know that your mind, you know that the power of the information that you accumulate is kind of your bread and butter during this time and during your life. And so here you embrace that owl spirit, the one that walks with you in this world, the one that is most profoundly your truth and seeing behind the masks and diving deeply into the power of yourself and saying, I'm not dealing in lies anymore. This is where I stand and this is what I stand for. And as you claim that power, as you stand in that truth, as you sit there and say, I'm not dealing with the nonsense. I move forward in this power, in this determination. It leads you to the 7 of water. It leads you to the 7 of cups. It leads you to looking at your dreams and saying, maybe I don't put my dreams on the shelf forever and ever. Maybe I see how to bring this into my life. How to take something so sacred, because especially if you've had the dream for quite some time, how to take something so sacred and say, I'm applying it to the real world. And as I apply it to the real world will eat it up. They will spit you back something that you sit there and you're like, well, I didn't think of that. I didn't mean to say that, or I didn't think it would be interpreted that way, or, oh, wow, it was such a beautiful dream and that person, stomped all over it. And you look at it and it's like, but it's still my dream moving forward. And maybe constructive criticism, maybe, blocking your ears to it all and still moving forward in your truth and in your power. That's exactly what you need to do. But it's bringing that dream forward. And it's knowing that there's power in your dreams. There's power in your passion. There's power in your soul. There's power in what you desire. And it comes in divine timing, but it also comes because you believe in it and you see yourself walking its truth. Instead of it being the retreat within your mind, it becomes the purpose of your days. It becomes the purpose of you. It's that bit of joy. It's that bit of passion. It's that bit of beauty that you get to go to, that you get to fully embrace. And it brings you to to the Three of Pentacles. It gets you to the place where you see that, wow, my hard work really was for something, and I am determined, and I am steadfast, and what I have done has illuminated me forward and has brought me to a place I hadn't imagined. And I can take the weight off my shoulders. I can burn the past and move forward in the present. I can burn away the restrictions and the everything that I was doing for everybody else, and the way that people didn't appreciate it, and the way I held on to my dreams and made them kind of nooses around my neck and said, oh, well, I can't move forward like this and I can't have that. And it robbed me of beauty. Now I step into my beauty. I step into my power. I step into my soul. I end this cycle. I end this cycle of the weight of the world on my shoulders. And I move forward in a grace and in a fluidity of self. It's kind of like you move forward with a bounce in your step, with an ease of your heart. And it really does bring you to this moon. So let's see how the moon correlates with the tarot, what Luna has to say. How will Aries be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aries be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aries be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Angels, and spirit guides. There we go. How will Aries be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aries be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Aries be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. Okay. So we have fear, makes perfect sense. Trust and wisdom. I like that. Nourishment. Nothing will come of the situation, and very interesting. What do you need to release? You are good enough. I love that. The full moon in Aries, you're shining bright. A fiery climax approaches. Expect powerful change. So it's very interesting. So you have the North Node here, right at the heart of it. You have this gift coming in. And there's almost a sense of fatalistic, nihilistic, tendencies where nothing will come of this. This won't move me forward. This won't change everything. I will have linked in the description box below the North Node for this time. All right, when the North Node is. Be mindful of those times because it will feel as if things just go backwards during those times. So just be mindful of that. If you need to, circle them on the calendar or, most definitely, or write them to your phone. But there is a sense here at the heart of this matter. It's like nothing will come of this. The fear will be, the hardships will be, it won't pass. And here it's like the fear of divine timing not being enough is going to be real. The fear of how do I face what has held me back for so long? The fear of what if they find out I'm an imposter? What if people look and dig deep within me and find out that I don't belong? And it's like, why would you think that? What is the insecurity here? What are you trying to prove? And so here, with the fear, you're taking yourself out of the fear. And it's like, oh no, I am enough. And that's what you have in the public arena. Internally, in your inner self, you're going to be like, how do I free myself? How do I move forward? Where is it that I want to be? And it's looking at that fear. It's looking at that doubt. And it's saying, why do you get to rule me? Like, why do you have such a powerful voice in my head? Because I need to trust in myself now to free myself from the darkness to be able to rise. To be able to rise and kind of murder the doubt, the fear. Because, of course, a flock of crows is a murder of crows. And it brings you to this chaos within. It's kind of like trust that you can overcome, trust that you can move forward, trust that you can be more than you expected. And it brings you wisdom. It brings you wisdom to have that sort of faith in yourself, and it balances out the rest of the world. It balances out who you are and where it is that you want to be and how it is that you're moving forward. And then it brings you to a nourishment of your soul as you embrace your prosperity, but also as you face karmic debts, as you face generational curses, and you say, you know what, I'm not living a sad truth anymore. I'm not living other people's hurts and failures and disappointments and shattered dreams. I get to live my life, and it's going to be filled with enough ups and downs. I don't need everybody else's. And nothing will come of living somebody else's truth. That's really what this is meaning. Nothing will come of the situation of living somebody else's truth, because it will not be yours. It has to be yours. And it then brings you, as you go through this transformation, as you have the dying away of the old self, the rebirth of the new, to the sense of, what do I need to release? What is holding me back? What do I need to say? I'm done. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And what's more importantly, I don't want to. Because I am enough. As you see the warrior within you, as you embrace your dreams, it's like, I'm good enough. I am enough. And at first, I remember when I first said this, I got so angry at it. I was like, there's so much more to be accomplished. There's so much more to move forward in. Saying I'm enough is like settling. And I'm not ready to settle. I'm not ready to stop. It doesn't mean that. It means that you honor the person you are right now. Instead of always looking towards the future, instead of always looking at the past, I honor who I am right now. Say that to yourself. I honor who I am right now. And then I move forward. I move forward, but embraced fully in the present. And so as you do so, you find that you are enough. You find that you have the tools to handle the situation, even if at times it really doesn't feel like you do. Even if at times you're trying to sit there and you're trying to figure it out and you're finding what doesn't fit. And it's getting you closer and closer to what does. It brings you then to you. Full moon, fully empowered, a fiery climax approaches as you see your prosperity, as you see what you have worked so hard for, as you see your worth and your power. And then expect change as you release what has held you back, as you release what you don't need anymore, what you're not carrying in your life anymore. It brings you to your subconscious Luna message. Well, let's do chakra message. It brings you to your subconscious chakra message, which is meditate. Meditate with the crown chakra to crown yourself in the truth of your heart, in the truth of your passion, in the beauty of your soul. It is time to meditate. It's time to step back and really embrace that bear spirit, especially during January. Or even now, if you started meditating on the bear spirit, just picture a bear in your head as you meditate and see what messages that bear will bring you. Because it'll be messages that you have planted within your heart that you could have forgotten. You could have planted them when you were quite little, but they are messages that are calling you forward. And here, as you meditate on your heart chakra, as you meditate on what your soul truly desires, you see yourself transforming, you see yourself becoming. And it brings you then to your subconscious Luna message, which starts with realization. The realization of the fact that you have the answer. You are the key. You can walk through what has once seemed locked to you. And as you walk through and as you embrace, it brings you deeper into your Luna message. And you step out of your comfort zone. You step out of your comfort zone. You start to say, well, why can't I? Why not? And you start to embrace who it is that you truly are. And what it is that you truly desire. And as you do so, it brings you to your subconscious tarot message, which is the Fool, which is a new journey, a new year, a new journey, a new outlook, a new grace of self. People will say, no, you're on a fool's path here, Aries. You're being hot-headed, you're being too impulsive. They'll use everything that kind of makes you pause and says, well, and you say like, well, am I falling into old patterns? Am I not being the person that I need to be? And it's like, no, you're not. You're not sabotaging yourself. What you are doing is you are beginning your hero's quest. And you might say, okay, Dane, well, the Fool comes up, and how am I always beginning my hero's quest? Because every single time we remember to be the hero of our story, every single time we take the power out of others' hands and we put it in our own, every single time we look at things differently, compassionately, every single time we honor ourselves, we change our tale. We change the way that we see ourselves. We change the way others perceive us. We move forward in a might and in a justice of being. And it becomes an exquisite truth. And this is what you're embracing, an exquisite truth that will lead you and is leading you and is making you the hero of your tale. The person that people root for to win, to triumph, and to be able to move into what they dream of. All right, Aries, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy, as during this time you surrender to your heart, you embrace the wisdom of your soul, and you see yourself moving forward in ways that you could hardly have imagined, that seem so out of your comfort zone, that seem larger than life, but are now going to be, and are now moving to be, part of your existence, your life, and your love. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Aries, and may you have a blessed moon.